This all began back in 1931. The first World Championship was a Ukrainian affair. For more than 8 decades, this outdoor test of an archer's skill has played out on many of the world's great stages. London, Paris, Berlin, New York, and Beijing, just some of the cities who have hosted the sport's best athletes. Now it was Antalya's turn, along with Belek, an idyllic resort community here on the Turkish Riviera. For 1 week, Belek became the most diverse spot on the planet this side of the United Nations. 69 countries registered more than 400 archers to compete in this World Championship. Countries like Armenia, Bangladesh, Moldova, Israel, and Estonia, all seeking precious metals on the Mediterranean coast. Shooting a bow and arrow trying to hit a target 50 meters away is challenging enough for most mere mortals. Shooting outdoors always increases the degree of difficulty. But when the Belek winds began to blow during the week of the World Championships, the sport of archery wasn't a game anymore. It was more like survival of the fittest. It wasn't about striving for perfection. It was about minimizing the damage and just getting an arrow to land anywhere on the target. Those who adapted, like the women's compound team from Colombia, moved on to the finals. And those who did not, well, they did not become extinct, they just found themselves shooting for bronze. Charles Darwin would have loved the 2013 World Championships. With Colombia qualified to go for the gold, the sharpshooters from South America now needed a dance partner in the finals. That spot was up for grabs between France and the Netherlands. Inge van Kaspel, Irina Markovic, and Martin Kuvenberg had already defeated the Russian Federation and South Africa, and they would weather the storm against the French, winning the semifinal shootout by 5. The Dutch getting the job done 182 to 177. The Netherlands assigned a target number 1 for the women's gold medal match on Belek Beach, where the wind was much calmer. The bigger assignment for Inge, Irina, and Martin, dealing with the challenge of defeating the team on target number 2. The Colombians had been clicking all summer, starting with stage 2 just up the coast in Antalya. Sarah Lopez had her coming out party on Conialty Beach, winning a pair of gold medals at stage 2. And Alejandra Usquiano started her amazing run with a team gold in Antalya. Aura Maria Bravo would be making her first trip to Turkey, but along with her 2 teammates appeared to be quite comfortable, especially jumping out to an 11-point lead after 3 ends. If the Dutch were going to make a duel of this, they would have to start shooting 10s. A lot of them. The opening volley in the 4th end, not enough to throw a scare into Colombia. Especially not when Sarah Lopez got things started with a bullseye. Aura Maria Bravo dropped down into the 8 ring. But World Cup gold medalist Alejandra Usquiano would strike gold, increasing Colombia's lead to 14. Inge van Kaspel keeps battling with a 9. Martin Kuvenberg not going down without a fight either. X marks the spot. And Irina Markovic makes it back-to-back bullseyes to finish out the scoring for the Netherlands. But it turned out to be a case of too little, too late. Lopez gets a 10-liner. Bravo gets off a solid shot in the 9 ring, leaving it up to Alejandra to do the honors and finish off the Netherlands, which she does with flair. Usquiano's shot is solid gold, and so for that matter is the team from Colombia. In their first trip to the World Championships, Colombia adds another new chapter to their remarkable story. Bravo for Usquiano, Lopez, and Aura Maria Bravo. Now we don't speak anymore about the United States, Korea, or Russia. We speak about Colombia. This is just one more reason to be proud, isn't it? What can I say? We've done a lot of work for many years, and we have to thank our families, our clubs, our league, and also our federation. Mainly, it's all this positive energy coming from all these people that has a real impact on us. In the compound men's semifinals, the Frenchmen were fighting more than just the win. After vanquishing India and Mexico, they found the Danes would put up a great deal more resistance. Genet, Deloche, and Brasseur were dealing with more than a force of nature. They were also dealing with Denmark, a team that included a World Cup gold medalist and the gold medalist from the World Cup final in Paris. It was just too much to deal with. The Danes win with ease, claiming their spot in the gold medal match with a 15-point victory. France falls in the semis 210 to 185. While Denmark was breezing past France, South Africa was having an easier time in the semifinals, going up against a Swedish team that had slipped by the Russian Federation and a talented team from the Netherlands. But the Swedes ran out of magic and they ran out of answers. On this day, the answer was blowing in the wind, and the answer happened to be South Africa. This one was literally a blowout. South Africa winning by the unheard-of margin of 34 points. Along with beating the Swedes, South Africa had also knocked off Norway and the Brits on their way to the gold medal showdown. After settling for silver at Stage 4 of the World Cup, Patrick Roux, D.P. Bierman, and Gabriel Badenhorst were hungry to bring home a team gold medal for just the second time in South African history. At the same time, the Danes had never won a team gold medal at the World Championships, so Martin Damsbo, Stefan Hansen, and Patrick Larsson had plenty of their own motivation. We'll pick up the match after the first 18 arrows. Denmark protecting a 4-point lead after trailing by 1 following the first end. Time for the big guys from down south to get going. Gabriel Badenhorst tries to light a fire under his team with a 10. D.P. Bierman does even better, dead center. And when Patrick Roux sends a missile into the 10 ring, the green and gold make like a springbok, jumping right back into the match. But the Danes don't flinch an inch. Larsson displays his gold medal form. The 18-year-old Hansen shoots like someone with 18 years' experience, and Martin Damsbo douses the flames fanned by South Africa's run of 10s. Badenhorst doesn't bat an eye, bearing down with a bullseye. But the streak comes to an end with this 9 by Bierman. The dwindling flame still alive, though, thanks to Patrick Roux. Denmark needs 26 points to win its first World Championship in this event. Larsson, the mechanic, gets the engine revved up. Hansen pushes down on the accelerator, and the winner of the World Cup Finals does the honors, driving Denmark across the finish line. Damsbo and company shoot 6 consecutive bullseyes to close out the match, making it a red-letter day for the nation, hosting the next World Championships in 2015. After falling behind early, these Great Danes turned it around in the second end. It's been a long time coming. We kept trying and trying and trying, and finally, we've succeeded with a great team effort. So hopefully, we can just keep this thing going. Albina Laganova teamed up with Alexander Dombayev at the final stage of the World Cup Tour, and the two worked well together in Poland, winning a silver medal. So the Russian Federation goes with the same hand, hoping the two-time world champ and the newcomer, who caught fire at the end of the summer, can create some gold medal chemistry. You know, the kind of chemistry cooked up by Marcella Tonioli and Sergio Pagni, who won a pair of mixed team gold medals this summer, not to mention a bronze at Stage 1 in Shanghai. When we pick up the action, things are starting to break bad for Laganova and Dombayev, who have left 9 points out there after the first 12 shots. Meanwhile, Marcella and her pal Pagni are almost perfect, picking up all but 3 of the points to be had. They're nice and loose heading to the fourth end, which begins with a 9 by Albina, followed by a shot right down the middle by Dombayev. Tonioli's arrow takes off and she's seeing red, but Sergio says, "Don't worry, this is what friends are for." Italy's still up by 5. Russia switches the rotation. Dambayev delivers. Can Loganova follow his lead? Not this time. The Federation finishes up with 149 points, which means the Italians need only 15 on the next two shots to win the match. These two can do that with their eyes closed, at least one eye. Tonioli keeps the right one open, and she's right on target. Marcella setting up Sergio for the kill, and the only soul to win back-to-back World Cup titles adds a World Championship to his resume. Time to celebrate. Tonioli and Pagni mix up just the right recipe one more time, winning the mixed team gold medal for a third time during this outdoor season and confirming their complete domination of this event. Russia falls behind by 4 in the first end, and Italy never let them back into the match, winning by 6.
We
feel great. We've won the World Championships again. We're in heaven. We didn't just defend our medal, we attacked it to win it again, so we're happy. Today, fortunately, we didn't have the same windy conditions as we had yesterday on the qualifications field. Therefore, we're very happy with this victory and to win the title a second time. After watching her husband Patrick win a team silver medal in the morning, it was time for Gerda Roux to get busy and try to bring a bronze back to South Africa. In her first season on the national team, Roux had gone 7-3 in match play and finished in the top 20 at stage 4 in Poland. This would be the first time she'd encounter Croatia's 16-year-old Maja Orlic. She showed up on the international scene 2 years ago at the tender age of 14, and now, after a very respectable top 10 finish at stage 2 in Antalya, Maja had made her way onto the biggest stage of her budding career. Orlic still very much in the match after 3 ends. She'd given up 3 points in the second end, but was only down by 4 with 6 to shoot. Trailing on the scoreboard, Orlic leads off and lands this shot just below the line for a 9. Roux has a chance to go up by 5, but instead gives one back. The lead's down to 3. Orlic on target again. If that's a 10, then this shot by Roux means it's a 1-point match. Just when you think the teenager's going to apply more pressure, though, she puts up an 8, breathing new life back into Gerda Roux. She bounces back with a bullseye. And after the officials declare the second shot by Orlic was a 9 instead of a 10, Roux is back on a roll, now up by 5. Maja Orlic has got a lot of ground to make up with her final 3 arrows. Nine's not bad, unless you have to have 10. Roux not in the same bind, so she does not have to do anything spectacular. Orlic knows the bronze medal's slipping away. She adjusts her aim, but gets the same result. The South Africans got a cushion, but a 7 could have made things uncomfortable. Lucky for Roux, that's on the line for an 8, and she's still in great shape heading down the stretch. In the end, it turned out she would not be tested. The Croatian never able to mount a comeback in her first World Championship appearance. Gerda Roux knew just what to do, wrapping up the bronze medal in only her 3rd international tournament. After losing her wind-blown semifinal match by the highly unusual score of 88-79, Mrs. Roux comes through with a 4-point victory over Croatia's Maja Orlic, 137-133. While they missed out on the bronze medal, this was still a coup for Croatia, getting 2 women into the medal matches at this World Championship. 28-year-old Ivana Budin, far more experienced, competing for the past 11 years and being ranked #1 in the world back in 2007. She'd been on the winning end of that 88-79 score in the semis and knew she'd need 88 points after 3 ends to have a chance of beating Christina Berger of Germany, a national champion pistol shooter who just switched to archery last year, Berger was back in a gold medal match for the first time since last summer in Antalya. Coming off a 6th place finish 2 weeks before in Paris at the World Cup Finals, Christina was in good shape after the first 9 shots, gradually building a 5-point lead after the first 3 ends. Buden's not about to back down or toss in the towel. She means business. But Berger does too. Christina takes all the time she needs to strike gold. The lead stays at 5. Buden goes back-to-back. But then again, so does Ms. Berger. Buden goes for 3 in a row and almost gets it. Almost. Berger can build the lead up to 6, but does not. So it's still a 5-point advantage for the 25-year-old German who'd already put a couple of bronze medals in her pocket during this World Cup campaign. After 4 ends, Buden has not been able to get the margin to budge. She's dug herself a deep hole and needs some help to climb out. In this situation, 9s are not going to get the job done unless her opponent falters. Not a chance. Berger's got a bead on another bullseye, and that bumps the lead up to 6. And the lead could go to 7, which it does. Christina's not letting up a bit. Berger brings the hammer down, and this one's all but been decided. But Croatia's Ivana Buden's going to go out with her head up after finding the center ring with her final shot. It's no longer a question of who, but a question of how much. Turns out to be plenty. 10-10-10 in the final end for Germany's Christina Berger, who records the biggest win of her young career. Only 25 years old, this could be the first of many times we see this tremendously talented athlete in the winner's circle at a major event. She shows great sportsmanship after the match, but when the gold medal was on the line, she showed a killer instinct. Christina Berger wins going away 144 to 137. Yes, my nerves were better than in the past, but I was also somehow lucky with this weather. My shooting style and the windy conditions were in harmony these days, and therefore I think I was a little bit lucky.
Mein Können besser zeigen können als sonst.
In the men's bronze medal match, it was Tico time. Roberval dos Santos of Brazil, also known as Tico, back in a big match after going off the radar screen for a while. He'd been in a similar spot back in 2007, winning a bronze medal at the World Cup final in Dubai. 5 years later, he's on Belek Beach, thanks in large part to a quarterfinal win over the defending world champion Christopher Perkins. Now, Tico would shoot on target 2, and that would prove to be a factor in this battle with Russia's Alexander Dombayev. We pick up the match after a string of 9s by Dos Santos leaves him looking at a 2-point deficit. Dos Santos will shoot first in the 4th end, and he'll shoot at a target that's in the shadows and getting tougher to see. On the other hand, Dombayev's target is bathed in bright sunshine, making it a bit easier to find that 10 ring. Leads up to 3. The next one by the Brazilian, just too close to call. It's up to the officials. The Russian can't assume that's a 9 or take anything for granted, but his 9 means it's a 2-point match again. Dos Santos leaves no doubt on this shot, peering through the shadows to put one down the middle. Pressure swings back to Dombayev. If Dos Santos is given 10 points for his second shot, the match could be tied unless Alexander comes through with a bullseye and consider it done. Alexander gets more room to breathe after officials ruled that second shot by Dos Santos was a 9. So the lead stands at 3 arrows in the quiver. Tico's not going to take this lying down. He's still swinging away, and he's going to be back within 2 of the lead after Dambayev leaves this one left of center. The Brazilian tries taking another bite into that lead, but the Russian's not about to play along. Dambayev trying his best to hold off Dos Santos, who knows he's all but lost after firing a 9 right here on his final attempt. Now 8 or better will get it done for Dambayev, who leaves no room for doubt. A bullseye for Alexander the Great, who broke through at stage 4 with a pair of medals, got himself into a pair of matches at the World Championships on Belek Beach, and took advantage of his opportunities, collecting a bronze medal to go along with the silver medal he picked up in mixed team competition. Mission accomplished for Alexander Dambayev, 142 to 139. For the first time since 2005, an American would not be competing for the compound world title. This time, the stage belonged to a Frenchman and a Dutchman. The Netherlands' 19-year-old Mike Schlosser came to Turkey ranked 38th in the world and had not won a medal all year. Schlosser had a good record in match play, but his credentials certainly did not come close to those of Pierre-Julien Deloche. PJ came to the beach ranked 3rd in the world, had captured a gold medal at stage 4 in Poland, came in 6th at the World Championships 2 years before in Torino, and came in 6th at the past 2 World Cup finals in Tokyo and Paris. So Pierre was the prohibitive favorite on paper. But this battle played out by the Mediterranean, a fitting backdrop for the French naval officer, or so it seemed. Deloche down by 2 and now in danger of falling even further behind Schlosser, who ups the ante with an ace. Deloche is close, and yet so far from where he needs to be. Meanwhile, Schlosser's as sharp as he's ever been, and now it's a 4-point lead. After his 3rd straight 9, Deloche may have been starting to sense this just wasn't going to be his day. Meanwhile, everything the Dutchman touched turned to gold. The ship starting to sink for Deloche, who is desperate to keep his hopes alive. A bullseye will do that for you. But so will a 9 by your opponent. The lead is down by 4. But in the blink of an eye, it's back up to 5 after Pierre puts one just above the center ring and Schlosser picks up another 10 points. The Frenchman fights back and takes another step forward when Mike Schlosser falters just a little bit. 4 ends are in the book now, and it's a 4-point lead heading toward the final scene. Nothing was coming easy for PJ. It had not the entire match. Meanwhile, Schlosser seemed oblivious to the pressure, and he was not about to give Deloche an opening to make a final run. Deloche digs down deep, delivers another 10. But it's too little, too late. Frustration written all over the face of the Frenchman as he offered up one last futile shot. But unless Mike misses, this one is over. And it's way over. Schlosser goes over the top and closes out the match with 10s across the board. It's the biggest moment in Mike Schlosser's young career, and a big win for his nation as well. Pierre puts his own disappointment aside, congratulates his opponent, but make no mistake, as sweet as the victory was for Mike Schlosser, it was that bitter for Monsieur Deloche. I had watched the finals this morning, and it really helped give me a feel for the conditions that I would be facing out on this field. Well, that's a wrap for the 47th World Championships. We will do it all again 2 years from now in Copenhagen, Denmark. Till next time, we bid you a fond farewell from the beach in Belek.